In the American justice system, judges are entrusted protectors of the rule of law. But what happens when that authority is turned against the very agents tasked with enforcing federal law? A rare and virtually unprecedented federal criminal trial is now underway, targeting Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan. Prosecutors accuse her of obstructing immigration proceedings and actively concealing a wanted man, turning her courtroom, a symbol of order, into the alleged staging ground for a calculated escape. The gravity of this accusation is distilled into one quote prosecutors say came directly from the judge herself: "I'll do it. I'll get the heat." Did Judge Dugan uphold justice, or did she commit a federal crime? The saga begins on April 18th at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. On that day, a man named Eduardo Flores-Ruiz, an undocumented national from Mexico, was set to appear before Judge Dugan regarding a misdemeanor battery charge. But outside her courtroom, federal agents from DHS and ICE were waiting. Their mission was routine: arrest Flores-Ruiz on immigration violations. Judge Dugan was alerted that federal agents were present in the hallway. According to federal prosecutors, this is the moment the judge allegedly intervened. Instead of allowing the standard procedure to unfold, Dugan allegedly directed the federal agents away, sending them down the hall toward the chief judge's office. With the federal agents temporarily diverted, Dugan then allegedly acted swiftly. She is accused of sending Flores-Ruiz and his attorney out a non-public door in an attempt to help him evade arrest. The question remains, was this alleged intervention a rash, spur-of-the-moment decision, or was it a planned maneuver to thwart federal law enforcement? The prosecution's timeline paints a picture of extreme urgency. Once alerted to the agent's presence, prosecutors say Judge Dugan called Flores-Ruiz's case earlier than intended. The time window in question is astonishingly brief. Witnesses are expected to testify that the use of that particular hallway and exit was not routine. The movement of the suspect was allegedly a directive, guiding the man and his lawyer to a non-public route that contained a stairwell leading out of the building. But the most compelling physical evidence supporting the obstruction charges lies in the clock. Prosecutors emphasize that from the moment Judge Dugan returned to the courtroom after speaking with the agents until the moment Flores-Ruiz and his attorney exited through that non-public door, only 2 minutes and 49 seconds elapsed. This razor-thin window is central to the government's case, suggesting an immediate and calculated decision to interfere. But why would a respected member of the judiciary take such a risk? The defense team for Judge Dugan's attorneys plan to argue that the judge was simply following existing courthouse policies, which directed staff to alert a supervisor about the presence of federal immigration agents. The defense maintains that her actions were not criminal concealment, but rather an attempt to manage the courtroom within existing, albeit chaotic, guidelines. Before the trial even began, Dugan's lawyers sought to dismiss the charges, making the powerful argument that she should be protected by judicial immunity for her official acts. However, the federal judge presiding over the case firmly denied this motion, ruling that simply because the alleged conduct could be considered part of a judge's job, it does not automatically grant immunity from criminal prosecution. The lines between judicial duty and criminal obstruction have been drawn, but even if the judge successfully cleared the path for Flores-Ruiz to escape, was her alleged effort ultimately successful? To understand the full scope of Dugan's alleged actions, we must return to the prosecution's most powerful piece of emotional evidence. The quote attributed to Judge Dugan, "I'll do it, I'll get the heat," suggests she was fully aware of the consequences of her choices, but determined to act nonetheless. It is an admission of calculated risk taken in an attempt to protect the man appearing before her. But here is the final compelling twist in this legal drama. Despite Judge Dugan's alleged maneuver, diverting agents and sending the man out a non-public door, the evasion was short-lived. Agents ultimately spotted Flores-Ruiz outside the courthouse. They arrested him after a brief foot chase that same day. For the man at the center of the conflict, the legal process moved swiftly. Flores-Ruiz later pleaded guilty to unlawful re-entry into the U.S. and was deported back to Mexico in November. For Judge Hannah Dugan, the consequences were immediate and severe, regardless of her intentions. She was federally indicted on 2 counts of obstruction and concealment. Furthermore, she was suspended indefinitely from the bench by the Wisconsin Supreme Court, pending the resolution of this trial. If convicted on the federal charges, Judge Dugan faces the possibility of up to 6 years in prison. This rare prosecution underscores the profound political and legal tensions surrounding immigration enforcement. It asks whether a judge's conscience, expressed through swift, unilateral action, can ever outweigh the strict duty to uphold federal law. The jury now must decide whether the 2 minutes and 49 seconds that unfolded in a Milwaukee hallway represents judicial heroism or federal crime.